It is said that in every home dwells a spirit. You can almost never see him, but he's there, wandering about your home. He is mischievous and demanding, but also gentle and important. The name of this spirit is Domovoy, and he drives our fortunes whilst protecting us from harm. The Domovoy are house spirits from Slavic mythology. Their name comes from the word dom, which means house. Many modern-day Russians, if asked, will state that they still believe in Domovoy today. The Domovoy have different forms and ways of operating based on where they are and what tale was told. They have a complex history that goes all the way back to pagan Russia. A Domovoy cannot normally be seen. However, there are widely accepted versions of what they look like. Traditionally, a Domovoy takes on the appearance of a gentle old man. He looks like a hunched grandfather with wrinkled skin, gray hair, and a long white beard. His eyes glow like fire in the night and can flash at people who catch a glimpse of him. A Domovoy is small, sometimes described as an elf or dwarf. Specifically, in some places, he can be no taller than the height of a 5-year-old boy. His clothing can change from location to location as well. Where one place might say that he wears a red shirt with blue girdle, another might say he wears a blue kaftan with a red girdle. The Domovoy find their root origins in ancestor worship, a belief that the spirits of the dead linger to dictate the fortunes of the living. To reflect this, some tales say that the Domovoy has the ability to transform. He can turn into regular animals like cats or dogs. It is common for him to transform into the ancestors of the current residents, or even the current residents themselves. He can even wear the clothes of the proprietor of the house, reflecting back the Slavic ideal of someone who works hard and lives a simple life. In modern times, the Domovoy mutated a fair bit from the bearded sprites of the pagans. With the advent of Christianity in Europe, this creature found itself taking on a more unsightly and demonic characteristics. A Domovoy can be imagined today as a creature covered in thick, unkempt hair, all the way from its palms to the base of its feet. Sometimes he has horns and a pointed tail like a sort of impish hobgoblin. Inside the home of pagan Slavs and many other cultures, there is a distinct relationship between ancestry and the hearth of the home, a place of warmth, light, and food. Because of this, Domovoy lives wherever fire can be found. His chief and most preferred abode is hiding inside the hearth. He can also live inside or near the stove, or under the candlelit threshold of the house. He can be found near baths as they are brought to temperature, where he takes on the form of a creature called a bannock. This is not to say that the creature can't be found anywhere else, though. This mythical creature is otherworldly, found both in specific places of the home, but also all parts of the house at the same time. A Domovoy is chiefly a protector of a house and its land. He defends the home from dangers like natural disasters, thieves, fires, and disease. He stops incursions by his evil counterpart, the Kikimora, and other invading bad spirits. He can do favors for the family, like hop to other homes to steal food or grain. He can also do little chores for the household, like babysit children as their imaginary friend. He can wander out at night and take care of livestock or farmed produce. The Songs of the Russian People, by William Ralston and Sheldon Ralston, state, "It is considered dangerous, also, to pass the night in a corn kiln, for the Domovoy may strangle the intruder in their sleep." A Domovoy can be a fickle spirit. He requires appeasement of food, good actions, and smart rituals to keep him doing his duties. Each night, a family will leave a portion of its supper near the hearth for the Domovoy to eat. They will clear away their dishes and leave the place clean, tidy, and peaceful. If the inhabitants are lazy, ill-mannered, dirty, don't honor their ancestors, or forget to feed their Domovoy, he can start to become mischievous. Without food, he can knock tables and benches about in frustration. He can do things like pull the hair of people in the household, lie on a person's chest at night, or pinch the family when they aren't looking. He can break plates, jump around making banging, creaking, or scratching noises in the house. He can even yell out in the night. A Domovoy can only be brought back to calm by offerings of food and righting of the wrongs he finds offensive. If a family doesn't change, a Domovoy will eventually up and leave for another home. Without a Domovoy, a house will not survive evil and ill fortune for very long. Another thing to recognize is a Domovoy's jealousy. For instance, the autumn offering of a goose to the water spirit Vadyani must be taken with care. If the Domovoy finds a household has sacrificed to another spirit than himself, he will greatly lose his temper and will have to be appeased. One important aspect of having a Domovoy is interpreting its tantrums and noises. This is because Domovoy is said to be able to predict the future. His outbursts can be taken as omens, good or bad. Wails or groans might reflect the coming of a death or some other disaster. Singing may predict incoming wealth or plenty. Determining what a Domovoy means with its creaking, banging, and yelling could be the difference between happiness and misery. Other aspects of the creature can also affect this determination. For instance, a Domovoy is said to sometimes stroke the face of the family as they sleep. If its hand is cold, the omen is ill. As fickle and temperamental as he can be, a Domovoy will never leave the outer boundaries of his abode unless he is absolutely forced to do so. In Poland, there is a belief that a Domovoy is so tied to its home that it will continue living inside the stone even if the entire house burns down. This has created the phrase, "In the old stove the devil warms," and tales like, "About the devil in the stove." He is so tied that when people move from home to home, they have to entice their Domovoy to go with them. A house without a Domovoy is like a house without a soul. There is a common ritual where ash from the stove is collected and carried to the new home, inviting their Domovoy to come with the family. The new abode doesn't have to be a house either. Even apartments in big cities can house a Domovoy. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have you heard any strange noises in your home which could have been a Domovoy? Let us know in the comments. I've been Steel Stash, and I'll see you in the next episode. Toodles!